Today's top trending story. Dutch authorities say Israeli fans were assaulted after a soccer game in Amsterdam by mobs, apparently riled up by calls to target Jewish people. 5 people were treated at hospitals and dozens were arrested after the attacks, which were condemned as anti-Semitic and by numerous international officials. Reports of anti-Semitic speech, vandalism and violence have been on the rise in Europe since the start of the war in Gaza. Jason Gaidola joins us live tonight with the latest. Good evening, Jason. Good evening,
Manisa. The attacks on fans happened right after Israel's Maccabi Tel Aviv had wrapped up their match with Ajax of Amsterdam. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu then ordered the dispatch of emergency planes to help Israelis escape Amsterdam. Right in the busy streets of Amsterdam, objects and fists were thrown between men running onto the road, one of many attacks following a soccer match. Crowds carrying Palestinian flags were also seen fleeing from local riot police. Dutch authorities say violence sparked when Israeli soccer fans exited a match between Israel's Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax of Amsterdam, adding that mobs had planned to attack Jewish fans.
But it was very frightening. I saw people get beaten. I saw people get inside hotels and lock themselves. It was like 1940, the 1940s.
Dutch officials say at least 5 people were sent to hospital with injuries and deemed the attacks as anti-Semitic.
This was not connected to football, and that's why you're all here to report, because lots of people went to watch a football game to support Maccabi Tel Aviv, to support Israel. For them to be running into rivers, to be kicked while defenseless on the floor, to be trying to suggest and beg people to believe that they're not Jewish, that's very, very sad times.
Let's say that I'm ashamed that this happened in the Netherlands, and it's a terrible anti-Semitic attack, and we will not tolerate, and we will prosecute the perpetrators, and I'm deeply ashamed that it could happen in the Netherlands in 2024.
Many other world leaders condemned the violence, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who called the attacks horrifying, adding this is a dark moment for our world and one we have seen before. Meanwhile, Israel says it's taking action. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says emergency planes are being dispatched to fans in Amsterdam.
לפני 86 שנים מחר היה ליל הבדולח. הסתערות על יהודים באשר הם יהודים על אדמת.
He also demanded the Dutch government to take vigorous and swift action against those involved. Reports of anti-Semitic speech, vandalism, and violence have been on the rise in Europe since the start of the war in Gaza. Local authorities banned pro-Palestinian demonstrators from gathering outside the stadium, and it's been reported a large crowd of Israeli fans were seen chanting anti-Arab slogans on their way to the game.
There may be more planning and coordination that went into this than may first appear, and that's something that the Dutch authorities, and beyond the Dutch authorities, I think other groups, Europol amongst others, will be looking at very closely to figure out what exactly happened here. And I'm sure they're going to be looking very closely to see, are there the fingerprints, if you will, are there links that go back to a nation state?
While the shocking incident is being investigated, Dutch officials will hold an emergency debate to discuss security.
You know, the sad truth is you may see this actually kind of impact on free speech or free expression, and that you may see other places start to, tone down or I hate to say tone down, but diminish the amount of symbolism tied to facilities and other things in order to not make them obvious targets of a possible, demonstration, riot situation, something like that.
Authorities in Amsterdam have already begun taking action today. Officials say they've banned all forms of demonstrations for at least 3 days and have given police the green light for stop and searches if necessary.